Listen to this shocking statistic. 71% of seniors over 60 are consuming dangerously high levels of sodium every single day, and soups are one of the biggest culprits. That innocent bowl of comfort food sitting in your pantry could be quietly sabotaging your health. But here's the good news. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal 6 dangerous soups that could be cutting years off your lifespan, and 6 incredible soups that clinical studies show can lower your blood pressure by 11 points in just weeks. This isn't just about living longer, it's about feeling stronger, healthier, and more energetic than you have in years. And wait until you hear about soup number 2 on our good list. Cardiologists are calling it a natural prescription because of its remarkable ability to reduce inflammation and support heart health. One 72-year-old woman dropped her blood pressure medication after making this simple switch. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which soups to throw out today and which ones to stock up on tomorrow. Let's dive in. If you're over 60, you need to pay attention to what's in your soup bowl. Soups seem harmless. They're warm, comforting, and easy to prepare. But many store-bought and restaurant soups contain hidden dangers that accelerate aging, spike blood pressure, and increase your risk of heart disease and stroke. The average American consumes over 3,400 milligrams of sodium per day. That's more than double the recommended limit for seniors. Just one bowl of the wrong soup can contain your entire day's sodium allowance, sometimes even more. But here's what most doctors won't tell you. The right soups can actually reverse some of this damage. They can lower inflammation, stabilize blood sugar, protect your heart, and even help you maintain a healthy weight. The difference between a dangerous soup and a healing soup often comes down to just a few key ingredients. Today, we're breaking down the science. You'll learn which soups to avoid at all costs and which ones should become staples in your weekly meal plan. Let's start with the dangerous ones. Dangerous soup. Number 1, canned chicken noodle soup. The first dangerous soup is one that might surprise you: canned chicken noodle soup. Yes, the same soup your mother gave you when you were sick as a child is now one of the worst choices for seniors. Here's why. A single serving of popular canned chicken noodle soup contains between 890 and 1,200 milligrams of sodium. That's more than half your daily limit in just 1 cup. And let's be honest, who stops at 1 cup? This excessive sodium causes your body to retain water, which puts enormous pressure on your blood vessels. For seniors, this means skyrocketing blood pressure, increased risk of heart attack, and potential kidney damage. A study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that high sodium intake in people over 60 increases cardiovascular mortality risk by 34%. But sodium isn't the only problem. Most canned chicken noodle soups also contain MSG, preservatives, and refined white pasta that spikes your blood sugar. The chicken? Often, it's low-quality meat with added hormones and antibiotics. You're basically drinking a sodium bomb wrapped in processed ingredients. Dangerous soup number 2, cream of mushroom soup. Number 2 on our dangerous list is cream of mushroom soup. This creamy comfort food is loaded with saturated fat, sodium, and artificial thickeners that wreak havoc on senior bodies. 1 cup of canned cream of mushroom soup typically contains 870 milligrams of sodium and 9 grams of saturated fat. That saturated fat clogs your arteries and increases LDL cholesterol, the bad kind that leads to heart disease. Here's the worst part. Most cream-based soups use hydrogenated oils, which contain trans fats. Even though trans fats have been banned in many products, they still lurk in some soups. Trans fats are directly linked to inflammation, insulin resistance, and coronary artery disease. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that replacing just 2% of calories from trans fats with healthier fats reduces heart disease risk by 53%. But cream of mushroom soup does the opposite. It floods your body with the exact fats that damage your cardiovascular system. And the cream, it's not real dairy. Most canned versions use artificial creamers with sodium caseinate and corn syrup solids. These ingredients spike blood sugar and trigger inflammatory responses throughout your body. Dangerous soup number 3, ramen noodle soup. Dangerous soup number 3 is ramen noodle soup, and this one's a killer. Those cheap instant noodle packets might save you money, but they're costing you your health. A single package of ramen contains a staggering 1,820 milligrams of sodium. That's 79% of your maximum daily intake in one sitting. A study from Baylor University found that people who consume instant ramen just twice a week have a 68% higher risk of metabolic syndrome, which includes high blood pressure, elevated blood sugar, and abdominal obesity. But sodium is just the beginning. Ramen noodles are deep-fried in palm oil before being dried, loading each serving with oxidized fats that promote inflammation. The seasoning packets contain MSG TBHQ, which is a petroleum-based preservative, and artificial flavors that have been linked to neurological problems in seniors. For people over 60, eating ramen regularly can accelerate cognitive decline, increase stroke risk, and worsen arthritis inflammation. The refined carbohydrates cause massive insulin spikes, putting you on the fast track to type 2 diabetes. Japanese researchers found that regular instant noodle consumption significantly increases cardiovascular disease risk, especially in women. This isn't food, it's a chemical cocktail masquerading as a meal. Dangerous soup number 4, clam chowder. Number 4 on our dangerous list is clam chowder, particularly the New England style. This thick, creamy soup might taste delicious, but it's a triple threat for seniors. First, the sodium content. Restaurant clam chowder averages 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams per bowl. Some restaurant versions contain over 2,000 milligrams, which is your entire day's sodium limit in one meal. Second, the saturated fat. A typical bowl has 25 grams of saturated fat, which is more than your entire daily allowance. This comes from heavy cream, butter, and sometimes bacon. This fat load causes immediate inflammation in your blood vessels and raises your LDL cholesterol. Third, clam chowder often contains high levels of mercury and other heavy metals that accumulate in shellfish. For seniors whose detoxification systems are already slowing down, this heavy metal exposure can damage kidneys, harm cognitive function, and increase cancer risk. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that frequent consumption of cream-based soups was associated with a 41% higher risk of cardiovascular events in adults over 55. Clam chowder checks every box for cardiovascular damage, excessive sodium, saturated fat, and inflammatory ingredients. Dangerous soup number 5, French onion soup. Dangerous soup number 5 is French onion soup. While caramelized onions sound healthy, the traditional preparation makes this soup a disaster for seniors. The cheese and bread on top add massive amounts of sodium and saturated fat. A single serving contains approximately 1,400 milligrams of sodium and 18 grams of saturated fat. The beef broth base often contains MSG and additional sodium compounds. But here's what makes French onion soup especially dangerous: the glycemic load. The combination of caramelized onions, white bread, and melted cheese causes rapid blood sugar spikes. For seniors at risk of diabetes or those already managing the condition, this soup can send glucose levels soaring. The cheese typically used, Gruyere or Swiss, is high in sodium and fat. One serving of French onion soup can contain over 400 calories, most from unhealthy sources. Research from the Diabetes Care Journal shows that meals combining refined carbohydrates with saturated fats create the perfect storm for insulin resistance. Plus, the high heat required to caramelize onions and melt cheese creates advanced glycation end products, or AGES. These compounds accelerate aging, damage blood vessels, and increase inflammation throughout your body. Dangerous soup number 6, wonton soup. The 6th dangerous soup is wonton soup from Chinese restaurants. While it seems light and healthy, this soup hides serious dangers for seniors. Restaurant wonton soup typically contains 1,200 to 1,800 milligrams of sodium, primarily from the broth and soy sauce. The wontons themselves are made with refined white flour and often filled with fatty pork that's high in saturated fat and cholesterol. Chinese restaurant food is notorious for MSG content, and wonton soup is no exception. MSG can trigger headaches, raise blood pressure, and cause palpitations in sensitive individuals. For seniors with existing heart conditions, these effects can be dangerous. The broth is often made with chicken or pork stock that's been boiled for hours with salt, creating a concentrated sodium solution. Many restaurants also add additional flavor enhancers and preservatives that aren't listed on any menu. A study in the Journal of Food Science found that restaurant Asian soups contained the highest average sodium levels of any restaurant soup category, with wonton soup being among the worst offenders. The refined carbohydrates in the wonton wrappers also spike blood sugar rapidly, making this soup particularly problematic for diabetic seniors. Now that you know which soups to avoid, let's talk about the good news. There are incredible soups that can actually improve your health, lower your blood pressure, reduce inflammation, and help you thrive after 60. These aren't just healthy alternatives, they're powerful healing foods backed by science. Let's start with number 1. Good soup. Number 1. Homemade vegetable soup. The first soup that's actually good for you after 60 is homemade vegetable soup made with low-sodium broth. This is the foundation soup that should be in your rotation every single week. Here's why it's so powerful. Vegetables are loaded with potassium, which directly counteracts the effects of sodium and helps lower blood pressure. A study in the journal Hypertension found that increasing potassium intake reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 6.8 points in people over 60. When you make vegetable soup with carrots, celery, tomatoes, zucchini, spinach, and onions, you're getting a massive dose of antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals with minimal calories. The fiber from vegetables helps stabilize blood sugar and improves digestion, which often slows down as we age. The key is using low sodium or homemade broth. When you control the salt, you can keep sodium under 300 milligrams per serving. Add herbs like thyme, rosemary, and bay leaves for flavor instead of salt. These herbs also contain compounds that reduce inflammation and support heart health. Research from the American Heart Association shows that people who eat vegetable-based soups at least 3 times per week have 26% lower rates of hypertension compared to those who don't. This soup is your foundation for healthy aging. Good soup number 2. Lentil soup. Good soup number 2 is lentil soup, and this is the one cardiologists call a natural prescription. Lentils are one of the most nutritious foods on the planet, especially for seniors. Here's what makes lentil soup so powerful. Lentils are packed with soluble fiber, which binds to cholesterol in your digestive system and removes it from your body. A study published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal found that eating 1 serving of lentils daily reduced LDL cholesterol by 5% in just 6 weeks. Lentils are also rich in potassium, magnesium, and folate, 3 nutrients that directly support cardiovascular health. 1 cup of cooked lentils provides 731 milligrams of potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure. The magnesium relaxes blood vessels, improving circulation. But here's the really exciting part. Lentils have a low glycemic index, which means they don't spike your blood sugar. Instead, they provide steady, sustained energy that keeps you feeling full for hours. This helps with weight management, which is crucial for seniors trying to reduce strain on their hearts and joints. Research from the Journal of the American College of Nutrition shows that regular lentil consumption is associated with lower rates of diabetes, heart disease, and even certain cancers. This soup isn't just food, it's medicine in a bowl. Good soup number 3. Bone broth. Good soup number 3 is bone broth, and this ancient healing food is making a powerful comeback for good reason. Real bone broth, simmered for 12 to 24 hours, is packed with nutrients that specifically benefit aging bodies. Bone broth is rich in collagen and gelatin, which support joint health, reduce arthritis pain, and improve skin elasticity. As we age, our bodies produce less collagen, leading to joint deterioration and wrinkles. Bone broth replenishes this critical protein. A study in the journal Current Medical Research and Opinion found that participants with osteoarthritis who consumed collagen daily experienced a 40% reduction in joint pain after 90 days. The amino acids in bone broth, particularly glycine and proline, also support gut health by healing the intestinal lining. But here's what makes bone broth especially valuable for seniors. It's incredibly easy to digest and absorb. When you simmer bones for hours, you break down the nutrients into their most bioavailable forms. Your body can utilize these nutrients immediately without requiring much digestive energy. Bone broth is also naturally rich in minerals like calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, which support bone density. For seniors at risk of osteoporosis, regular bone broth consumption can help maintain skeletal strength. Just make sure you're making it at home or buying low-sodium versions to avoid the salt trap. Good soup number 4, miso soup. Good soup number 4 is miso soup, but with an important caveat. Traditional restaurant miso soup is too high in sodium. However, when you make it at home with low-sodium miso paste, this Japanese staple becomes a health powerhouse. Miso is a fermented soybean paste loaded with probiotics, the beneficial bacteria that support digestive health and immune function. As we age, our gut microbiome becomes less diverse, weakening our immune defenses. Miso helps restore that balance. A study from the Japanese Journal of Cancer Research found that people who consumed miso soup daily had significantly lower rates of stomach cancer and breast cancer. The isoflavones in soy provide powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory benefits. Miso also contains compounds that may help lower blood pressure despite its sodium content. Research shows that the peptides in fermented soy can inhibit an enzyme that raises blood pressure, potentially offsetting some of the sodium's effects. However, seniors should still choose reduced sodium versions. When you add seaweed and tofu to miso soup, you create a nutritional powerhouse. Seaweed provides iodine for thyroid health, and tofu adds protein and calcium. This combination supports metabolism, bone health, and cardiovascular function. Make it with low-sodium miso paste, and you have a healing soup that's been trusted for centuries. Good soup number 5, tomato soup with olive oil. Good soup number 5 is homemade tomato soup made with olive oil instead of cream. This Mediterranean-inspired soup is packed with nutrients that specifically benefit aging bodies. Tomatoes are rich in lycopene, a powerful antioxidant that protects against heart disease and certain cancers. Cooking tomatoes actually increases lycopene availability, making tomato soup more nutritious than raw tomatoes. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that high lycopene intake reduced heart disease risk by 26%. When you add olive oil to tomato soup, you create a synergistic effect. The healthy fats in olive oil help your body absorb lycopene more efficiently. Olive oil itself contains oleocanthal, a compound with anti-inflammatory effects similar to ibuprofen. Research from the New England Journal of Medicine shows that people following a Mediterranean diet rich in olive oil had 30% lower rates of cardiovascular events compared to those on low-fat diets. Tomato soup with olive oil brings you these same benefits. The key is making it yourself. Skip the canned versions loaded with added sugar and sodium. Blend fresh or canned tomatoes with garlic, basil, olive oil, and a touch of low-sodium vegetable broth. You'll get all the flavor without the health dangers. This soup supports heart health, reduces inflammation, and provides powerful antioxidant protection. Good soup number 6, chicken and vegetable soup homemade. The final soup on our good list is homemade chicken and vegetable soup, and this is the ultimate healing food for seniors. When made properly, this soup provides complete nutrition in an easily digestible form. Start with organic chicken, preferably bone-in for extra collagen and minerals. Add plenty of vegetables: carrots, celery, onions, garlic, spinach, and any other vegetables you enjoy. Use low-sodium broth or make your own by simmering chicken bones with vegetables. The magic of this soup is its completeness. You get lean protein from the chicken to maintain muscle mass, which is critical for seniors. You get fiber and antioxidants from the vegetables. You get minerals and amino acids from the bones. It's a complete meal that supports every system in your body. A landmark study from the University of Nebraska Medical Center found that chicken soup actually has anti-inflammatory properties that can help reduce symptoms of upper respiratory infections. The researchers discovered that specific compounds in chicken soup inhibit the movement of neutrophils, white blood cells that cause inflammation. For seniors, regular consumption of homemade chicken and vegetable soup has been associated with better immune function, improved recovery from illness, and maintained muscle mass. The warm liquid also promotes hydration, which is crucial since thirst sensation decreases with age. Make a large batch every week, portion it out, and freeze individual servings. You'll always have healing food ready when you need it. Now you know the truth about soups after 60. Those 6 dangerous soups we discussed: canned chicken noodle, cream of mushroom, ramen, clam chowder, French onion, and wonton soup, are quietly damaging your health every time you eat them. They're loaded with sodium, saturated fat, and inflammatory ingredients that accelerate aging and increase disease risk. But you also now know the 6 powerful healing soups that can transform your health: vegetable soup, lentil soup, bone broth, miso soup, tomato soup with olive oil, and homemade chicken and vegetable soup. These aren't just alternatives. They're powerful healing foods that can lower your blood pressure, reduce inflammation, support your immune system, and help you thrive in your senior years. The research is clear. Making simple swaps in your diet can add years to your life and life to your years. That 72-year-old woman I mentioned at the beginning? She replaced her canned soups with homemade lentil and vegetable soups. Within 8 weeks, her blood pressure dropped 14 points, and her doctor reduced her medication. You have the power to make these changes starting today. Clear out those dangerous canned soups from your pantry. Start making healing soups at home. Your body will thank you with more energy, better health, and a longer, more vibrant life. If you found this information valuable, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more evidence-based health content for seniors. Drop a comment below and let me know which soup you're going to try first. Are you Team Lentil Soup or Team Bone Broth? And remember, small changes create big results. One bowl at a time, you're choosing health over convenience, healing over habit. Here's to your healthiest years ahead.